Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are about to start our round number 2 of our week 3 of the PSS 5. I'm Michael Hoyp. I'm joined in the booth. Former player of the Rock beating up the Goblins. Former player of the Goblins beating up the Rock. It's Jared Doucette. How's it going, Jared?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Happy to be back tonight.
Yeah. So from player to commentator, we are going to be watching Will against Álvaro. And so I feel like the storylines kind of led up. So because what we've done differently this season is with the absence of banning decks and instead having saying you can't play a deck until you've played you can't replay a deck until you've played all three.
Right.
I feel like the match you kind of look forward to is this third week, and you kind of like set things up to try and be like, okay, is there a way I can gain an advantage for this match? Is that kind of how your thought process was a lot of the time? Is like kind of pivoting for this third week?
Well, number one, I knew I didn't want to play a mirror match against Jeff in week 3 because we have two of the same decks, and I hate playing mirror matches.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure I got the Replenish deck and the Goblins deck played ahead of time. And I also had a feeling that like my Rock deck was going to be the best against him, all three of his decks, between the Goblins, the Replenish, and the Elves, because I think the Plagues, for example, are good against two of his three decks, and then Discard's pretty good against Replenish. So I figured that first of all, and then I kind of worked backwards from there because that was going to be the one I was going to be locked in with. So then I went back to like, okay, in week 2, I knew I didn't against Tom, for example. I didn't want to make sure. I want to make sure I had the ability to kind of have a decent matchup. And I was like, okay, now I want to, if he, especially after I knew what happened to week 1, and I could kind of like adjust. And so I was able to kind of play, and I kind of worked backwards.
Okay. Because I do know from some talking to Will a bit, he's not very excited with the matchup that he has right now. So I don't know if some of
Pretty
his
rough one.
calculations didn't go the way that he thought. Like maybe he thought Alvaro was going to pick a different deck and have something available now. But he is certainly not excited when he is taking his Fluctuator deck up against Alvaro's Mono Blue Stifle Knot. I guess the idea is that Will is very dependent on one card in terms of
Mm-hmm.
Fluctuator, and Alvaro has a good amount of cards that interact with that in terms of counter spells, and can apply pressure pretty quickly. So Will is pessimistic about this match, though. Uh, I think people don't give the Fluctuator deck enough credit on its ability to get out of a sticky situation.
I mean,
Uh,
we should say that Alvaro is playing the Mono Blue Dreadnought, and
mhm.
Will's playing Fluctuator, so
Yep.
that's the matchup.
Yep.
So again, yeah, that's how this is going to be shaking out.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it is like you have to resolve a Fluctuator, then he has to resolve the combo pieces. So that makes it kind of tough to do. When he has to face down like 16 or 18 counter spells that are in the main deck, or maybe it's something in the teens. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one for him, as unless he wins the die roll, then kind of pops it off on turn 2 with or turn 3 through a daze or a counter spell. Then I
Mhm.
think he's can have a chance. But
All right.
you
So
know,
for those who are not familiar with the Fluctuator deck, nearly all the cards in the deck have cycling too. And then once you get one of the 4 copies of Fluctuator in the play, which reduces cycling cost by 2, you can cycle through nearly your entire deck. So the cards that don't have cycling are the 4 Fluctuator,
correct.
a copy of Songs of the Damned, which is a black instant that adds mana equal to the number of creatures in your graveyard. There is 1 Drain Life, which is the card you try and cast, and then Dromar's Cavern, which technically doesn't have cycling, but when you play it, you can pick up a land that does have cycling and cycle that. So that one kind of doesn't even count. I guess it depends if you have your land drop or not. So the idea of the deck is to resolve Fluctuator and then go through your deck and get those cards and then kill your opponent right then. So the problem lies, if we'll bring up Alvaro's deck, is there's a number of counter spells. So counter spells, days can be problematic. Foil are all ways to interact with that one Fluctuator that Will is trying to resolve, and Will, at least game 1, doesn't have any way of like fighting these. So Will
So I'm wrong. He actually only has 11 counter spells. The
Okay.
three counter spells, 4 days, and four foil. It's all he has for counter spells. Now he's gonna has a good chance of getting them between like 4 opt, 4 portent, and the impulses. But at the same time, that's less than I thought it was for
Okay.
the record.
But then the other aspect is it's not like the Stifle Knot lists kill quickly. Like once you assemble the Dreadnought plus Stifle or Vision Charm, your opponent has 2 turns, and Will doesn't have any interactions, especially in the main. So an uphill battle for Will, but we're going to see how things go. And I do believe Álvaro had won the die roll, so even more of a struggle for Will's perspective that he has the chip stacked against him. So, But let's jump down to the match, and if you want to, or unless you wanted to add anything, but
no, I'm excited to see this because I didn't get to watch much of Flint at LobsterCon playing this deck, so I'm excited to kind of give it a watch and hopefully it can go off. And it looks like Álvaro is down to 6, by the way, whereas Will is keeping all 7.
Okay, let's see if I guess I forgot this for the first match, but I'll see if I can find the poll. And so if you want to do the play
I got him.
Yep, do the play-by-play real quick as I bring this
Sure
up.
thing.
I have an idea of what people are going to be guessing, but we'll do it either way.
All right, turn 1 portent again. He's digging for days, and it would be the number 1 card I would look for, honestly, because I think that's going to be one of your better ones. And then counter spell, so else going to get. Okay, we're going for a shuffle, so it must not, unless he's also looking for a second land drop. That could be the other thing. But this is one of the powerful things important. That shuffle when you don't like the top is really important. It's not quite ponder, but it's pretty close in some cases like this. And in this exact case, drawing it in their upkeep as opposed to their right away is really not much of a difference. So okay, replace the card and we're good to go. I love the snow covered islands, by the way, of Álvaro. Just land go, and now an opt. I think we are looking for the second land. Let's see what happens.
Okay, I've got the prediction up, so you guys have a couple of minutes to wager who you think is going to win. But
yeah. All right. Okay, second land. That's huge. Again, we days online. You got counterspell will be up next turn, but I think he was looking for that second land, if I had to guess.
If you're Will, and like let's say you have a fluctuator, are you giving respect to a card like Days?
You kind of have to, I would think, but maybe not. That's one of those terrible creatures that he's just playing. He's going by the creature plan, so he's just trying to play out terrible creatures and see what happens.
Yes, this terrible creature is named Sandbar Merfolk.
I don't recognize any of these, so this is all on you. Like I do not recognize any of these arts.
All right, well, let's see. I think I'm pretty good on most of the ones that are in this deck. So, yeah, playing a 1-mana 1/1 in the face of a 12/12 is probably not going to cut it. But Will's just going to hope, I guess. I mean, especially since Will doesn't disrupt what Álvaro's trying to do. I have a hard time imagining that this 1/1 is going to put up much resistance. But
no, this is Álvaro going for it on his turn 3, so he's only gonna have 1 blue mana open, which is important because that turns counterspell off. So he must have. I'm guessing he probably could have a foil in his deck or something, but or in his hand right now. That would be the only reason why I would go for it. Otherwise, I'd want to keep up 2 mana to make sure you counter the fluctuator.
Well, the other way to look at it is, let's say you have Stifle Knot and Stifle and Dreadnought in hand, but don't have a counterspell. So he had a gush, so maybe let's say he doesn't have Daze, counterspell, or foil. Like if you anticipate Will just going for it on turn 3 anyways, you might as well gush and hope you draw a foil or something, and because you didn't have counterspell either way. I can see that also being something.
Yeah, sure.
If you think your opponent's if you think your opponent's not going to respect the counterspell anyways, you might as well just play out your threat.
Oh, he actually cycled his expunge, which is actually that's an answer.
Well, no, it can't get the
artifact creature. So many restrictions in these damn black removal spells.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, if we just had a Doom Blade, that would be all the difference. All right, Impulse. Okay, that's interesting. Again, he's probably looking for making sure he has gushed oil or gush or foil. And do we have any of them? Oh yeah, I see the life total on Álvaro's side. That was an intern gush, so that's good. All right, here it is. Last bit. Will's probably gonna go, uh-oh, I got nothing. I don't think he's got much to deal with this, so. Is he frozen?
Nope, that's just Gabe. Just the Dreadnought gets it done.
Yeah, that's all it needs to do. Okay. We just rumbled on in there with the 12-12 and held up counterspell, managed it to some degree, and that's all it needed to happen. So okay, well that's how that was expected to go.
Well, now we can go to the sideboards, and things at least potentially could change here.
Yes, I agree.
So I'll bring up Will's list first. So okay. What the sideboard is, like, a lot of there's 4 copies of Miscalculation, and then there's 4 copies of Misdirection. So those are ways to interact with counter magic primarily. I mean, you also could other forms of disruption or whatnot. There also is an extra copy of Songs of the Damned, and I don't know if this is something where it comes in this matchup, but there's copies of Twilight's Call where you're not necessarily relying on resolving the drain life, that you just have a way to just bring back all the creatures. But I would anticipate I guess you probably would want to do that, because if you get to the point where you're fluctuating, you're never going to be able to go through your whole deck, because there's so many. I guess it's just misdirection. The Miscalculation still cycles. I'm not sure. I think you bring in the Twilight's Call plan, but I don't know. But the idea is that you just bring back all the creatures. But
this is where it would have been nice to have Flint on this one, because but I do think when he at LobsterCon he did say that that was his kind of plan, is that he's hoping to sculpt a perfect hand against the counterspell deck that lets him to either do Songs of the Damned twice and then Twilight's Call at instant speed, when they're kind of either tapped out or floating or whatever it is. But the problem is that Álvaro doesn't give the opponent much time compared to like a normal control deck, right? Because he's also putting on he can put a lot of pressure on with the 12-12. So I think that would kind of make me want to, probably try to be as quick as possible, because he can't sculpt the perfect hand all the time. Will can't sculpt the perfect hand all the time.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have that much time.
So, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, like, I would take out the expunges for sure, and then I don't know what else. How you cut cards in this strategy? If you're cutting lands, if you're cutting just some number of creatures, if you cut like the Drain Life and whatnot, and the Gilded Light, like probably the Gilded Light. So it'll be interesting to see how things change. I'll bring up Álvaro's deck. So Annul is another way if he wants to fight the Fluctuator.
Yeah.
Beyond that,
that's all he needs. Bring in 4 nulls. It's better counter spells.
Quick, I'll go through the rest of the sideboard. There's 2 Blue Elemental Blast, 2 Curse Totem, 4 Hydroblast, 2 Powder Keg, and a Boomerang. So yeah, I think I just bring in the Annuls.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. With Misdirection, if you annul the artifact, the Fluctuator, you can't misdirect that because it can't counter itself because it's not a legal target, right?
Correct. So typically, Misdirection is good against counter spells, but when there's not another legal target, then you aren't going to be able to change the targets. Right. So Annul actually shines really well at countering the
Fluctuator
in that aspect. So that makes things a lot more difficult, I think, for Will. So
Misdirection is a sweet card, though. I'm excited to see. I hope it gets to shine a little bit here. All right. I think we're good to go when they are.
Yeah, they should. I mean, yeah, they can start whenever. Okay. So chat is noting some stuff from Flint's LobsterCon Experience, Dreadnought, Mono Blue and Blue White. Take out Expunge, Gilded Light, 4 Smoldering Crater, 2 Drifting Gin. Bring in a Lotus Petal, Miscalculation, Misdirection. And the idea is to play turn 2 Fluctuator if possible and pray. And maybe you can misdirect Vision Charm at our own Fluctuator. That's assuming that you resolve a Fluctuator, which I think is problematic. Or a Stifle at a Cycle trigger. But
again, with the Misdirection, you can't change the mode, right? Of
correct.
Of the Vision Charm. That would have been cool if you could just all of a sudden mill them 4 or something. instead, but no, just change the target.
Mm-hmm.
Still a sweet card. Almost Force of Will. Almost.
Yeah.
But not at all.
I mean, in certain matchups, I guess, like, from Will's perspective, it's probably as close as you'll get, because, like, if you're very focused on doing one thing, you typically only care about, like, protecting that, and so it's pretty close to counterspell in a lot of aspects, at least for fighting counterspells, or to Force of Will. But all right,
I think Álvaro's down to 5 for the record.
All right, well, I don't necessarily think that's that detrimental, because, like, if you just have one annul like that slows Will down so much. So I don't think mulliganing is really detrimental in much of any manner.
Agreed.
We do have a resubscription from Elendril, so thank you, Mike Arnold, for the support. 14 months.
I would have a really good subscription streak to this channel if Jeff Bezos made it a lot easier to get my Prime sub. It's just they make you go through like the actual like website as opposed to just being able to do it on like mobile, and they won't let you redo it.
I think you can do it on mobile, but you do have to manually do it every time.
Every time. You can't just like have it ready to go.
But think about how much money they save because of that.
Well, fuck them. I don't care. Like support your creators. Make it easy. The guy like owns half the world at this point. Like, come on.
So we were talking about Álvaro mulliganing. Did Will mulligan to 3?
Or yeah, maybe. Or is it 4? Or is those the 3 cards that are going underneath in his hands in his hand? I'm not actually sure at this point. I kind of missed a few of those.
Yeah, I was not paying attention, but
they shouldn't be that unbalanced in their mulliganing, unless he has it stacked weird. I guess we'll find out soon. I'm pretty sure Álvaro's down to 5 though.
I will like to say when we're talking about
no, he's down to 4. Oh my god, this is bare bones for both of them.
That probably does that favor Will? I don't even know if it does. It might.
Well, I mean, he could have if he has 2. Yeah, he's got 3. Oh my god, he's only got 3 cards. So if he has 2 lands Fluctuator and he's got a good chance of drawing a cycler off the top, it could just kind of go for a while. We'll see what happens.
I will say on the poll, there were some people that picked Will to win. I think it might just be that the payout was just so juicy, the odds were so good. But
yeah,
or maybe they're just Will fans or Fluctuator fans.
Is Gabe Farkas running that bookie?
Yeah,
it seems like something he would do. Okay, all right, he's got a second land. Let's see where we go here. Man, we are so good at mulliganing in this BSS.
Yes, especially tonight. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Will has not attempted a turn 3 Fluctuator.
Yeah.
And Álvaro is just portenting.
If he leaves only 1 mana up at the end of this turn, I think you try to maybe go again. Now there's an null to worry about. Man, it's tough. Looked at a bunch of cards. Ooh, cycling the old way. Okay. As Garfield intended there.
Yes.
Okay, another land. We got 4 lands in play, which is a lot for Will's deck. Now having snow cover islands, there's actually no benefit to this, right? It's all detriment. Like there's no like benefit to having snow covered islands other than being cool. But like thermokarst and the gain of life, yes. That is just like that's not deck optimization. These are the edges that we got to really worry about here.
I do believe there. I can't think of any upside, other than Álvaro had noted that it made me not use unglued lands in my MTG Goldfish deck photo. But in the meanwhile, Álvaro has a Dreadnought with a
Vision Charm.
And there is a miscalculation from Will.
Oh, miscalc, even better. There it is, the counter spell. Well, wait, is he countering the
Vision Charm?
Well, that's not what they're doing. There's still mana floating. I mean, unless they just didn't take it out. Okay, he's dazing. Oh no, he's foiling. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Foiling the miscalc. Oh, he was trying to counter spell. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it looks like they were trying to counter spell the Dreadnought. Okay. Definitely try to. Anyway, so that didn't resolve. So now 12-12's in play, and here we go. But it doesn't look like we're putting up. Yeah, Will's didn't get the draw. There's 12.
Will is not able
Snack.
to remove this dreadnought.
This is gonna be hanging out. I think just. All right. I mean, this in theory is an opening for Will. Again, as long as he doesn't have a null. All right, cycle 2 cards.
Then, okay. But I think it actually is pretty likely that Álvaro does have a null. So yeah, he's like, here, I had these.
Yeah, 2 nulls. Like, yeah, this.
What are you gonna do about it? So
very lopsided matchup. Yeah. Nothing really to do there. Mulligans to 3 and 4. We've already had 2 mulligans to 4. That's pretty rough.
Yes.
Well, I think let's hope Tom and Rich are better at shuffling their decks than I was. And then hopefully we can get keep moving. But yeah, just unfortunate, a really lopsided matchup that that deck set has a big problem with setting it up. Oh, it looks like actually let's get those players up and just talk to them for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you could have sideboarded in nothing and been just fine.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't listen yet. I don't listen yet. So good.
All right, players, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Well, so Will, this matchup was something that you were dreading, and it didn't go much different than you kind of said it was going to. I guess the question kind of is, since the way you picked your decks in the prior weeks locked you into playing Fluctuator in this third week, and did you look at Álvaro's decks and say, I am hoping that he plays Stifle Knot in a prior week, or it wasn't something that you considered, or what was your thought in terms of knowing that this was potentially something that could happen?
Sure. The way I thought about it was there's absolutely nothing but the grace of God that could win this matchup for me. So I made a decision to make initially is, do I want to run Fluctuator into the possibility of 2 other decks that have meddling mages, or decide and then have a better matchup here to possibly win a game? And neither mono blue or neither Slide nor Stasis always has a great Dreadnought matchup anyway. So I just made a decision that I will probably be sacrificing round 3 to get 2 good matchups for round 1 and 2 and go 2-1 into the next leg of this. And the next leg of this, there are some good possibilities of decks that Fluctuator can feast on.
I think it's sound reasoning. Yeah, you just knew this was going to be a bad one, so just like kind of make your other ones better. And like you said, you're sitting 2-1, so like that's the second best you can be at this point. So and just you knew this was going to be a bad matchup, so I think it makes sense.
I debated about having fun and like getting some Croson grips from the store and just having them off to the side, a la Ruel from Honolulu with his ancestral recall, and just be like, Croson grip you. I win. But no split second in this format. The plan was very good. It was. The plan was this: like, if I ever got the chance, was really playing almost creatures out a little bit and hope he never finds Dreadnought. I mulliganed to 3 game 3.
Yeah, how bad were those hands?
None of them had blue mana, and you can't cast your creatures without blue mana. And none of them actually contained Fluctuator. So I couldn't even go for the let's hope for a Fluctuator plan. So
right.
What are you gonna do?
Yep.
So Álvaro, was this like you had your Stifle Knot list? Was this something you kind of saved for the third week, hoping that it would play Fluctuator? Or I guess it probably matches up pretty well against most of Will's list. That was kind of your thought process of why you saved it for week 3?
Yeah, after the first round, my hope was that Michael plays something different than that Secret Rock, so I at least win the first one, and I was fingers crossed that Will didn't play Stasis against me against Dreadnought. So when he played that against Lanny, it was like, okay, thank you, Lanny, for taking the hit.
Lanny took the hit for you. I'm sure he's happy about it.
Yeah, I guess, and then overall, were there mulligan decisions? I mean, like the card annul, like in this matchup, seems very problematic from Will's perspective. Like usually his plan is to have misdirection, and you can't misdirect an annul. So I guess the hand that you threw back in game 2, was it a reasonable hand, or were you really looking for a card like annul? Or
I was looking for 2 mana. I didn't want to lean on Gush or a cantrips because I needed to have a little open for turn 2. Of course, he mulliganed to 3, so yeah, I wasn't that worried about that. And in the end, I kept a hand with 2 annuls, 1 island, and the portent.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, I can save this. I can use this portent right away, try to ensure the second land, and then if he goes the trader turn 2, I'm not sure if he's going to win because he only has like, I don't know, 2 cards, 2 cycles. So
yeah, it was I don't know. Even without the annuls, like even just having a daze for a City of the Damned or whatever the hell the stupid card's called, they'll never cast against you. Songs of the Damned is pretty backbreaking. So I don't know. It feels like as close to a 90-10 matchup as I could ever imagine.
yeah, it's so hard, especially when you mulligan that card, and
Right.
if you cast misdirection, you are losing 1 blue card. So that means that you are cycling less. So it's an answer, but it's not awkward at the same time. It's not optimal.
Yeah, I think the answer is either hope to get luck, like keep your cards in and hope to get lucky with like a fluctuator, or like just play a bad draft deck and play stupid creatures that maybe get there.
Yeah, the difference is like playing against a pure control deck. He doesn't give you enough time to do that, you know?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know what other choice there is.
No.
Beyond praying.
Yeah.
I didn't have my whiskey with me or anything to feel lucky, so I guess I just couldn't make it happen.
all right, I guess we have a little bit of time just to fill since that match did not take very long. So you guys, we can hang out for a few minutes as I do think we are going to start our third round a little bit earlier than maybe what we scheduled if the players are ready. But I think we have a little bit of time to chat. If there is something you want to talk about, either about this specific matchup or maybe a previous week, or something that you're looking forward to in a future week of the PSS, we've got the platform here. So,
I mean, I feel bad that I did not immediately recognize last week Mike Arnold's beautiful homage to me.
Okay.
I just, as a testament to how much I don't care about cards, I just didn't even realize the purposely bad cards.
Mm-hmm.
So to Mike Arnold, I apologize. And if you send me anything, I will gladly sign your bad deck with my name to immortalize it further in everyone's memory. But no, other than that, I've been having a great time. And Álvaro was asking me if I regretted bringing Fluctuator at all. And I don't think so, because as I was saying a little bit, like this was kind of a rough segment for me, but most of the other matchups have areas in which if I pull it out, it's probably problematic for them in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So this was the one batch that's like, well, I guess this was the bad choice, but I'm happy with making the choices I did, and just suffering a quick defeat so I can just watch PSS and enjoy dinner early.
All right. There are benefits, yeah. Álvaro, is there anything you wanted to chat about real quick?
Yeah, just wanted to say that right after I sent the blue-red Tinker list, I've been playing Math lately, so I regret my decision. I wanted to change it for regular mode because of Sphere of Resistance. So yeah, we were talking about that, like, and that's why I asked him, because I feel like I right now I prefer to play in this meta. I would prefer to play mod, like regular one, not the blue-red Tinker.
Okay.
And speaking of metas, even though it's just happened, I know me as playing different decks, the feeling of not going forward and having land taxes right now to get on that a little bit is, been awesome for trying ideas and what it's done for it. I think the big question is in the next round of monthlies and Euros coming up, the South American championships coming up, I think are coming up, other various things is Dreadnought going to be too dominant? And my feeling is no. I feel it'll be a very powerful deck, as it always is, but I think it's much easier to fight than a land tax engine. And Álvaro is somebody who has done a lot of work in the Dreadnought space. What is kind of your opinion on Dreadnought in some form? Is it going to be too much of a problem in a format, or do you think it's easier to fight?
I mean, I love Dreadnoughts, but I feel like the meta will adapt. It already adapted to the blue version. It will definitely adapt to the blue-white version too. And this is more or less a hot take we have been discussing with the Shrimp team. My theory is that Pit Rag is going to rise now.
I love Pit Rack, by the way. It's a great deck.
I mean, of course, it has Slag as a trouble, as usual. But against most decks, like we just saw the power of Engineer Plague against Goblins. If you add that to removal, spot removal plus Plague Spitter too, you get a strong shell that can beat not easily, but can have advantage against Goblins and Elves, as well as Rock too, because Rock mostly don't have any engine of card advantage like natural one. So I think it will be better positioned in this new meta, hopefully, because people keep saying that black is not represented enough. So hopefully this changes that a little bit.
I would like to think so. I like that. I like the ability to experiment with lands and being able to actually make the land drops and do different things. Sam Black had a domain Burning Wish deck that I really kind of, even though it's never been my style, I can't imagine myself playing it. I've been enjoying it and tinkering with it. And it's something like you have to build decks now with the idea like if Dreadnought's going to be the boogeyman, then you can build your deck accordingly. And I just think it's easier to build a deck accordingly with that in mind than trying to fight a plan that says you can't play lands a lot of the times.
I feel like Goblins is the boogeyman right now.
Goblins could also be the boogeyman. Goblins.
Hey, easy there. Okay. Don't tell anyone else.
Hey, I mean, I respect a good engineered play against Goblins, but I will kindly disagree with Mano's opinion that one engineered plague is truly enough to beat a decent or
it's not enough.
Goblin's hand.
It is not enough.
That is a hot take that I feel is incorrect.
X2s are important. The second one's pretty much death knell, but yeah.
Well, yeah, the second one's death knell, but that second one's death knell against just about everything.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Like, for sure.
Plague Spirit plus, Engineer Plague Black plus Plague Spirit is game winning, of course, but you need something to support the first plague. So,
absolutely, yeah, and it's not like Goblins has any inability to eventually side in. Like they've done domains, they've done naturalizes. If they're worried about a Plague Spitter, how hard is that for them really to splash or put some like lightning bolts or more pyrokinesises in a board or something like that? I mean, even
Incinerator,
that, Incinerator.
To some degree, yeah.
Yeah, to some degree, but adding more removal, it's not like it's been hard to do.
No.
Exactly.
Wait until they start packing Goblin Goons. That's fantastic.
Coming soon to you.
But yeah, no, this PSS has been awesome. And I've enjoyed every minute of it, even in a quick loss like this. I mean, me and Álvaro have played 5 million times in between monthlies and spring flings and whatever. And I've been lucky enough to have the upper hand in a lot of those cases. So it's about time I got my comeuppance.
Yep. So it will be interesting to see how the metagame shifts after the land tax ban. But we are going to take a quick break and get our next round players set up. So thank you guys for the match. Condolences, Will. But yeah, I mean, you're still in a fine position at 2-1. So congratulations, Álvaro. And we'll see you guys next week. So
see you guys later.
We're going to take a short break as we get our round 3 set up. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.